So, Death in the Family.
Yes.
July 19th. Hype us up.
Hype you up.
What's
okay.
coming?
Two big guys. They're just going to punch each other. There's going to be some toys in there. It's going to be quite interesting. I'm going to see who knocks out who first. It's going to be great. These two thugs are going to try to get their hands on these two quick, high-flying guys who are both insane. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Let's talk about this one, because I'm excited for this one. This will not just be a normal match. They said they will do some stuff in it too. So I'm excited to see what that entails. And then it's been announced. Can't hide it anymore. It's the main event. I don't know what they're doing. I just know everything is on the table with that match. There's going to be live music there. It's going to be some great stuff. It's going to be a different experience. I'm excited to help out with it. They initially asked me to help them with finding talent for the initial tournament and helping with that. And then afterwards, when everything kind of disseminated, I was like, why does that have to be one-time thing, guys? Let's do something else. And now it's been like, I'm helping a lot more, and I'm trying to be more like, I don't have to wrestle on the shows, guys. I want to help out. I want to I'll build weapons. I'll round up the guys and everything like that, you know? I just want Texas' scene to have something. I want it to be something strong, you know?
The Death Match Jesus returns. Dimitri Alexandrov. Welcome back to the program.
Hey, thank you for having me, my friend. How are you?
Good. So next week, by the time we're recording this, Death in the Family will have their show over at Kickbutt Coffee, which is probably the more interesting venue that I've seen, because I visit there on the weekends to get coffee on a Saturday. And with your involvement with the promotion, how did Death in the Family came to be?
So initially, Death in the Family was more of the original love child of Biss, Max from Inspire, and Bradley Mann kind of came together, and they really wanted to have kind of a deathmatch company, especially this is something really Biss has really wanted for years and years. And they kind of came together. They did the one-off last year. And then afterwards, I was like, but does this have to be a one-off? It could be more than just a one-off. And then it's been kind of playing in the ether for a minute. And the idea started for these little pop-up shows that we want to try to do. And it's not just one. I'll let you know. I'll pull back the curtain here. There's a few coming leading up to the traditional Death in the Family show that would happen in October. Yeah, in the last, after the tournament happened and everything was fantastic, I loved it. We're like, well, this doesn't have to be a one-off show. There can be more. There can be much more than just the one. And why don't we try to make this like a full-blown like deathmatch company in Texas? It's like a Texas-made company.
Right.
Yes, you've had other companies come in there. You have CZW's come in there. You had Circle 6, SVN, XVW came in here. All these other non-Texas deathmatch companies come to Texas, and it's like, why don't we make one that's kind of like a proper one for Texas, with Texas people making it? So
Deathmatch has been starting in Texas. That's the one thing I'm learning as I'm really understanding the business in terms of how history is made. Why is Texas such a haven for deathmatch wrestling?
Well, I mean, it's like you were just saying there, this was a funk thing, the funk territory. That's what they won, the Texas deathmatch. I mean, has it evolved over the years? What that means? Yes. And there's various rules. If you still say a Texas deathmatch, it's still a certain kind of match if you really think about it. They always had the old not Von Erich, but the funk rule was a pinfall happens and then your opponent has to stay down for 10 seconds. And then that's the true end of the match. So there can be multiple pinfalls, but that doesn't count, and it's evolved over the years. The Japanese got a hold of it. They made it really extreme. ECW got a hold of it, I would argue that's very deathmatch. Barbed wire rope, that's a deathmatch. Those are things, it doesn't have to just be tubes. But yeah, I think Texas is kind of the ones that it started here. And why not us be the people who perfect it? That's what I think.
Yeah, because the deathmatch tournament happened last year. I did see a lot of what you guys are doing. What's the moment for you, whether you are involved in the match or you're watching someone else while you're getting ready for your own spots during that tournament last year?
It's just insane watching. I feel bad, watching Matty Ike bounce off of that glass thing over and over again. That just
I remember that.
His spine hated him after that. Some people are like, well, it didn't break. That's worse. That was the thickest piece of he was literally getting thrown into like a thick wall at that point that just didn't want to give. It's just like getting hit with a rock at that point. I felt so bad for him. His spine just kept bouncing off that thing. And then.
No, I saw that and I'm like, oh my. I'm like, is he still alive? That was my question.
Yeah, I thought he was going to die.
Yeah.
Maddie's tough though. Maddie's so tough.
Yeah, exactly. And with the 19th coming up and there's a new crop of guys who are joining what Death in the Family is going to be. For those guys who are coming in, what were some of the things that you would impart to them? Because some may not have been doing deathmatch wrestling for a while. Like I think one that's kind of close to going into the show is Demo Diamond. He's done maybe a couple, but for someone who's new, who's trying to learn the ways of how deathmatch wrestling works, how would you impart that wisdom to them who's still fairly new to that type of match?
Well, so here's the thing. He's in there with someone, Killer Cash, who is someone who is a pillar of it here in Texas. He couldn't be a part of the first one because of obligations with his job and stuff. And he was someone who probably first pick should have been part of that tournament. And now he's going to be in there with Demo Diamond, a young guy who is already a very accomplished standard wrestler. And they're going to have this no ring match with no rules and everything like that. And I also need people to understand deathmatch is just not, like I said, not just glass. There's a lot more things to it. Barbed wire, things like that, attacks, doors. Hardcore and death they're the same thing in my book. If you look at it, because otherwise, and I'm like, I've seen Demo do hardcore matches. I've seen him do a street fight. So those are going to be some good skills. I've never seen him do a no-ring match. I've seen Killer Cash knock out the Necro Butcher in a no-ring match. So let's just say that. He knocked him out. So Demo always likes to talk about how he has that really hard, right, that right forearm of his. He's going to put it to the test when he's got a fist coming at him from the right as well. So, I think Demo is a very fantastic wrestler, but I want to see what he does when he's in there with someone who's probably the baddest guy in all of Texas.
Yeah, and Cash has a mean streak. I mean, at one point, he had to put gasoline on someone, nearly lit the dude on fire. Kiefer had to stop it. It happened again in Bat City. Yeah. And it's like, who knows what, and how predictable that he can be. Also, and I was thinking about there are still some regular matches in this show too.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Because now
it'll be blurred. Let me say that. When you want to look at it, it'll be blurred. The lines will be blurred on every match. So there'll be a little something. So, because a lot of people are going to be like, well, what's this one going to be like? See, if you predict it being a normal match, that's going to catch you off guard then, because you were going to say, what matches got you kind of wondering it's going to be more of a normal match?
Yeah. I was going to segue into tag team because
I see.
Because
those guys
that
are crazy.
Was the thing. Because I mean, it's Kamikaze Click and Just Vibing, because it's two different styles too.
Yeah.
With Kamikaze Click, we've seen Mo Kelly and Luke Cameron do their own style of deathmatch. I mean, I've seen them in death matches in AEPW, which is really me impressed with what they're doing things with their skill set. But then you see Just Vibin, who has that type of standard match experience. So how is that mix of those two? And of course, you're not going to give everything away, but to have two of the different styles of wrestling, how will that line blur coming into the show on Saturday?
So obviously you have the power versus speed dynamic. That's already going to be one there. I'll give this to just Nick. On a whim, day of, because of a cancellation, he was in Death Triad 2. In his first death match ever. Oh. He was in day of. He was supposed to be Orn Veit, Matt Locke, and myself in a triple threat for the first round of Death Triad 2. Orn missed his flight. Nick stood up and said, I'll be in that death match. Got hit with bundles. Got hit with gusset plates. Just Nick is a crazy man who I think will adapt. Kenny, I haven't seen Kenny do a full-blown death, but I've seen him do ladder matches and TLC matches. So he's not afraid to put his body on the line with that stuff.
He's at the border of it. That's what it looks like. He's at the border of it.
Now, that being said, you have Kamikaze Click, who are not afraid of anything. I've seen him do street fights. I've seen him do horrible. Like I saw them win the Blackbird tag titles in a very close to deathmatch you can get match.
Yeah.
Where they even attacked a member of the band that was playing people out. They're wild guys, and it'll be interesting to see the dynamic of like what will Just Vibing look, what high risk things will they do in such a small venue, because they've already messaged me saying, can I do this, can I do this? I'm like, I don't want to say no to you. I'm kind of curious. And
it's carte blanche. You're like, all right, yeah, just go ahead.
Ask for forgiveness. Don't ask for permission.
Because I'm curious, because I'm thinking, because like Kick, and I'm sure like the logistics of it, but to have a small venue like Kick Butt and seeing how different venues can change over every show. What makes it such a huge difference on a small venue compared to, let's say, a slightly larger venue like the Empire?
Yeah. Obviously, it's going to be like you can escape from your opponent. You don't have a lot of room to move. Yeah. Maneuverability is going to be a factor. These kind of like no-ring shows, like when they do them up in for like Casanova Valentine does them for like New Fear City and stuff, you're in small little bars and there's people like you're practically in a mosh pit. So a lot of these are going to turn into like, hey, especially like Luke Cameron probably has a farther reach than Kenny and Nick, and so does Mokele. So they better like try to create some distance with if they can, or avoid or something like that. It's just things like that. You don't have the ability to like escape. You have to almost like create those openings for yourselves, but then use your environment more.
Yeah, because I was thinking now that I've mentioned it, because you were in a no ring with the Highland Lounge too.
Yes.
And seeing the dynamics in terms of it does kind of lead back to the prior question, but seeing the dynamics of a no ring match to a traditional ring, there's got to be a lot of like leeway to say, okay, what can I do and what can't I do, or it's the sky's the limit.
It's definitely a little of column A, column B on that. Like it's like, what can I do here, and then what can I make happen here? It's kind of like that,
Because like MV Young, because I remember just that one match alone, and you kind of really make use of the small spaces over at Highland, and especially like with Kick Butt. What would be the takeaway for you to say, oh, I know where to go, I know what to do, and it's just rolling with the punches with a match like that?
Definitely, it has to be like that. It has to be kind of like you're gonna have to just figure out what's going on. That's why I always implore people, show up early, have a look at the venue before people show up, and then try to picture people where they're gonna be, so you're not just, oh no, my plan is gone because now that person is there.
You gotta improvise. No, can't do it.
My whole plan was that I needed that table, but there's a whole family of 8 there. I can't.
So, I mean, the show's on the 19th. It will be at Kick Butt Coffee. Yes. And it's going to be an exciting match. But we'll talk, hype us up at the end of the conversation. But I do want to talk about you because you've been a world traveler.
Yes, I have.
Because, like, I think we had discussions on what your goals are by the time this episode aired sometime last year. And you've traveled to Australia.
Yes.
And how is that like wrestling from what you've done so much? Well, let's do the United States. You've done some shows within the US, but to go to a different country like Australia, like what was your first impressions of just seeing the country in general before we even delve into the wrestling scene?
I loved it. I absolutely adored it. It was so much fun. Great people. Just engrossing yourself somewhere where you haven't been. It's kind of like starting a whole new with everything, and like winning that crowd over. Your first match, winning the crowd over. It's like, okay, this is gonna be fun, and then just the rest of the tour is just like fun matches, and then a lot of young students you get to help out. And I did 2 seminars while I was there, and it just brings home more the fact that I love teaching people, and I love like that's something I want to do when I'm all done with this, because I think it's so much fun, and it was such an honor to have the opportunity to help people out with that. It was so much fun. But the country was great. I loved it. Great food. I walked a lot of places because I was in Melbourne and I stayed with my buddy Joel Bateman, and he's a great guy. He's extremely walkable country, and I just like, I'm just gonna walk places. It sounds fun. And
really? Is it that small?
It's not that small. It's just very accessible. Like Melbourne's a big city.
Oh,
it's a very
it's
big
accessible.
city.
That would be
it's very accessible.
Accessible
yes.
would be. There we go. That would be a better way of saying that.
Yes, it's definitely
like public transit.
Oh yeah, and I didn't even use the public transit. That's the best part. I just walked. I walked to the gym. I walked to the big mall. Malls are a thing there. They're doing very well. No. Oh no, just no dead malls in Australia. I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's crazy. That's a pariah compared to here in the US.
It was like being in the 90s.
My God. I want to visit there sometimes. But anyways, I'm going to go off track. The wrestling scene, though, what's interesting is, of course, we do know some people who are from Australia who wind up being in like a WWC, Rhea Ripley, Big Bronson Reed, Buddy Matthews. And what was it like just seeing the wrestling scene from an American standpoint? And how is it similar to or different compared to what we have here, not only in Texas, but like in the US in general?
So it's kind of interesting because you think of Australia, it's an island country, obviously.
Right.
Giant island though, but it is incredible to me how lots of little companies go to cities because there's not like, even though it's a big country, there's still like areas you don't inhabit really. So you have like, Melbourne has 9 companies. And I don't know how everyone's like, Austin's got too many companies. There are 9 in Melbourne. There are 4. Yeah, I have a whole list. There's like 4 or 5 in Perth. There's like 11 in Sydney. And it's just like, they all huddle around these big cities. And then they might go on little tours across the country, and it's interesting as hell to me. Yeah, it's like, I know everyone's like, there's too much shows in Austin. Brother, there's too much shows in all those cities. It's wild to me. But like, they draw very great. You know, they draw people and stuff. Everyone has their own fan bases too. That's an interesting. There might be a little bit of crossover, but it seems like everyone has their own little bubble of fan base, and it's very interesting.
Oh, I see. It's similar in a sense where because like I'm understanding it being in the Indies here. Like there's a small cluster of like Austinites who are like the APWs, the Inspires, the Barachos. Then you go to Houston, and it's Reality. It's in Texas. It's PWF. It's Russell Rape. You go south, San Antonio, United, Hybrid,
RC.
Black. I have to go to Blackbird show.
It's fun.
And you go all the way south with McAllen. You have Combat Cult and the other promotions, but you see like the cluster because it is a geographical distance.
Yes.
Because I mean, I'm probably the unicorn who would drive to Houston to see a reality show, who would drive to San Antonio to see United. So like you see like the fan bases have their clusters.
Yes.
And it's still wrestling at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong. It's just the way that it's clustered. That must have been the same then with Australia when you started to visit different promotions.
It was. And I just saw like, it's funny, the crossover fan, this is going to be really funny. I saw like, there are a handful of people, but the one I saw the most is wrestlers from other companies wanting to watch what other companies are doing.
Oh,
and it's very interesting.
They're observing because like, competition is what drives wrestling companies nowadays.
Yes.
And it's an iron sharpens iron moment for those promotions because, all right, what can I do to make my promotion to at least go a step above? Not necessarily like leaps, but just a step above that.
Right. So that was very interesting seeing that. And I was just like, this scene is very interesting, but some companies hate each other. Some companies don't hate each other. And it's just like... This company's really big on trying to do lucha. That's another thing. There's a company trying to do lucha, and it's Australia, and they don't have lucha. So it's interesting to see that, you know, where that comes from. And then this company over here is trying to be more WWE. This company over here is trying to be a deathmatch company. This company over here is trying to be NXT from 2016. It's just very interesting seeing all these things.
That's oddly specific.
Black and gold too, and it was just
okay. I see. Okay,
everything.
I see.
The styles of it all, like just really indie. I don't know. It was just very interesting seeing all these very different places do all that.
Because throughout your tour, has it been like a mixture of like deathmatch and standard wrestling, or was it just all death matches?
I did mostly death matches, but I did do one normal, and it was just one normal and 4 death matches. So
Oh my gosh, that's but like because someone coming in from the United States and seeing the Australian crowd, of course you got over. I mean, that's the main thing of visiting any promotion is to put yourself over. What was it like seeing the fans like, oh, you're from Texas? Okay. Like, what was that reaction like to see someone different from the fan side of things and saying, this is a totally different guy than what we have in Australia? It's
funny you should say that. And I'm going to give a guy some grief right now. There's a guy who I like. His name is Pete Morgan. He's a great wrestler. He admitted to me that about a year prior, he had a Texas gimmick. He was...
Wait, okay. Elaborate.
He was Texas Pete. That was his gimmick.
Like the hot sauce.
Which they don't have there. So
you should give him a bottle next time. Go ahead.
Funny you should say that. He gave me a bottle of his hot sauce. Which was like chicken peri peri sauce, which is more of like a barbecue sauce. How they have that.
That's about all right.
And I was just like, Texas Pete. You were Texas. He's like, yeah, I don't do it anymore. I'm like, you were Texas Pete. That is amazing to me. Sorry, I have to tell her. I love Pete. He's a great wrestler. Big Stan Hansen guy.
It just threw you off.
It was just so funny. And then, of course, Joel had to be like, bust his balls about it, saying, oh, yeah, Texas guy made Texas Pete here. And it's like, fuck, this is so funny. This is so funny.
I've got a feeling you're going to visit Australia. You will bring in a bottle of Texas Pete at the HEV. You'll have to ship it to him. It's like, this is your song. This is what your character is based on.
I'm literally just going to give it to him. I am actually already in talks about coming back already. They want me back, which is super cool. And I'm just like, there's so many things I want to bring because they all are like fascinated with like keep Austin weird stuff and all like the don't mess with Texas stuff and everything like that. And I want to be like, and you, Texas Pete, you get this.
Because I mean, like with the scene in general, and doing it for so long, fan interaction has always been such a given, no matter what level of wrestling experience that everyone has. What was the fans like in Australia?
Just lovely people, lovely people. There's this one fan who always brings a giant stuffed dinosaur. It's really funny, and they love it when you interact with them with their dinosaur. I actually took it and I used it as a bludgeon on a person, give back to them, give a high five. I don't know. Just fun little things like that. Just nice. They were nice people. There's this guy named Stu who is a fan, but he's also a sponsor for the shows. He runs a pub.
Okay.
He straight up fed us the night before, which was awesome. And
that's nice.
Came to the show and bought everything. He bought a little bit. He bought one of everything at my booth, and he's just a really nice guy. They're just a lot of good people, and I understand that they've cultivated like relations with the community there, and especially with Deathmatch Under, they had the community is called Werribee. That's like the county and everything, and then Werribee County is like they're like holding up a deathmatch company, people bleeding and stuff, but like the whole community loves it as like this wholesome thing, and I'm like, this is awesome. I love this. This is wholesome, but at the same time violent. And it's just like that's where I kind of see Death in the Family. Like, why don't we get a little community that's like, hey, we're happy to have our little violent company, here. But I know. The fans are great there. Long story short, fans are fantastic there. Can't say anything bad about them. Had no negative experiences, which is a fantastic thing to say. So very welcoming people. I'll say that. Very welcoming.
You were there on their training grounds over in Australia. What was it like to have all this experience in Texas wrestling to the guys who are still trying to figure out their voice in their scene in Australia?
So I will give them super credit real quick. They came into this training all just like mouth shut, ears open kind of thing. And they all have a good understanding of like a base of wrestling, and they just want to know like things to make themselves different, things to do this. And it's like, what I actually gave to them, which is funny coming from me, is I taught them how to be more of a base for lucha and for high flying guys. And it's something that they are like super, like they were all super interested in things because they don't have that scene. They have places that try to emulate it, but they don't have that connection to like lucha libre. Like I'd done Mexico last year, and working with them there, and then working with just some of the luchas like Epi, Arrow Boy, Sick Boy, guys like that. And it's just like you get to work with these guys, you get a better understanding of how basing is and everything for that, and also just how you need to set them up for these things. They were fascinated with that, and I really dove in quick with them with that. But these guys, they were respectful, the nicest bunch of kids I've ever worked with, and I have to give credit to Joel Bateman, once again, my dear friend. He helped get these guys great bases, and they just came in and they had questions. Hey, what's it like working with this guy?
That's
hey,
good.
what's it like working with the talent who doesn't speak English? What's it like working with this thing? It's just like, talking these questions, and I was like, I love this. I love the school setting and helping out people. And it was just like, this feels good. This feels good giving back to that. And I already said this once. I love training. And when I'm all done with wrestling, I will do training in some way, shape, or form. I want to help out either at a school, have my own maybe, but I'll be happy just helping out at school, being a teacher at school. That's all I really want. I love it.
Because I kind of remember our interview too. Is Japan still in your sights?
Absolutely.
And traveling. And I'm curious because you've been watching a lot of deathmatch wrestling for quite some time.
Yes.
What can you deliver with the origins of like Texas Deathmatch? How can you deliver that to something like in Japan that has their own spin of a deathmatch?
I stand by it. I think I will say this for modern take with deathmatch wrestling. I think Japanese do it better than everyone. I think they do. I think they perfected it. And that's why with Death in the Family, I don't want just guys who are known for deathmatch wrestling to be involved with it. I want people who are also new to it and can bring something, good wrestlers. That's another thing. And I've done a few Twitter rants about this. I think at the end of the day, the best deathmatch wrestlers are already good wrestlers. And I think I would like to be that guy bringing back that thing to Japan from Texas of like the Funks were great wrestlers and they could be deathmatch wrestlers. Bruiser Brody was a deathmatch wrestler and also from Texas, good wrestler. I want to bring that spirit back from Texas to Japan and just be like, I can do that for you guys. Because I always say this, my goal in wrestling, my all-time goal is Japan. And I come more to it now that it's not just going to Japan once, it's going at least twice because it means you were good enough to be brought back a second time. And that's like it's a vindication thing for me. And I always say that. So it's like at least twice. Obviously I want to go 1,000 times, but at least twice because then it would validate.
That's your minimum.
That's my minimum. And then after that, I can firmly say I've done everything I wanted to do in wrestling outside of, well, okay, there's some more things, but that's the big.
Japan is the tippy top.
The tippy top.
Because I was going to ask, and I think we never got to discuss this on our prior interview too. Sure. What would be what was your first death match you've seen, and what is your favorite death match of all time?
Okay, this is hard. This is a very hard question. The first death match I ever watched has got to be like Kawasaki Dream, the death match from the Funk and Foley in the finals, but it wasn't that match. It was probably just the entire DVD of the whole tournament. They had like Bam Bam, Terry Gordy, all those guys, and then it gets progressively more and more violent as you watch it, and you're just like, that's a thumbtack pit. They're hitting each other with barbed wire bats, and then it gets to the finals with Funk and them, and they have C4 boards, and you're just like,
wait, what do you C4? Wait, like plastic explosives?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, that's the. So if you remember when they sit down interview with Mankind and JR, they're talking about that place in Japan. He tore those Japanese boys up, all that stuff. They show clips of him throwing Terry Funk off the top of a ladder onto one of these boards that then explodes, and vice versa, And it's probably that. I love Funk as a wrestler, not Funk, Foley. I love Foley so much.
Yeah.
I love both of them, but Foley's my guy. I think he has this really underrated one. It's when he's still in Japan for FMW, I think, and he works with a guy called Wing Katamura. And it is like a pizza death match, pretty much, but It's the first match I ever saw Glass in a death match, and it's like from 1996. He's in WWE at the time. He's just being borrowed to go to another company.
Okay.
And it's wild to me because like they don't use panes, they don't use anything. They straight up use windows and put them on top of these things and throw each other through them. And it looks miserable. It looks absolutely miserable, but it's just like, that's insane. That match sticks out to me the most. I'm going too far into things. My favorite death match of all time, probably, I'll just say the one that comes to my mind. It's like 2014. It's a guy named Musashi Takeda versus my boy. Oh my God, I can't think of his name. Oh my God, this is going to bother me. It's a guy who can do both styles. I really love him. Oh my God. Ishikawa. Suji Ishikawa versus Takeda. That match is so good. So good. And Suji Ishikawa was a guy who also went to All Japan and won the Triple Crown Championship. At the same time, was a deathmatch guy. And I'm just like, that guy gets it. That's what I want. He's a Swiss Army knife.
He found his spot. That's what it means with the Triple Crown Championship.
That's what I love. I love it when guys can be both. I love that. And it's just a flip of switch. It's like, okay, you took the glass from barbed wire away from him. They're still a really good wrestler. And I love that. That's the stuff I love, man. And I guess that's my favorite kind of death matches.
Because I was going to bring this up because I think wrestling in its own bare bones is still storytelling.
Yes.
How does death matches really convey a story throughout the chaos of broken glass, thumbtacks, gusset plates? I am quivering at the sight of a gusset plate, but how does storytelling really incorporate into deathmatch wrestling within the chaos of it?
You can absolutely tell a story, and that's like you said, it is at the baseline. Wrestling is a story, and you can tell a story of like desperation. You can tell a story of someone being thrown out of their element, and now they're having to adapt mid match, and you see that. Or it's the same as any kind of wrestling match, rising up. And like maybe they're taking on someone who's more experienced than them, and now they have to rise up and show they're on the same level as them. It's that same thing. You can do the same things. You just need to understand there's the violent curve, and you can 0 to 100 maybe once on a show, but if you do that every match, the crowd doesn't care. The crowd does not care. I think deathmatch wrestling is the one that encourages you to watch all the. They always say watch the card so you know what people have done and not repeat spots.
Yeah.
I think deathmatch wrestling is the quintessential. Like, don't repeat each other. Like, watch what people are doing, watch what they're reacting to, and kind of play off that, and be the different scoops of ice cream, because I think that's something that gets lost a lot, and a lot of people just want to go, it's time, tube. Like, you can build to that.
Yeah,
you can build to these things. You don't have to. It's like a wrestling match. You don't start off hitting finishers left and right. It's the same thing. I digress. I think I think it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same storytelling. There just happens to be weapons. You don't have to. Don't think too hard on it, guys.
That's kind of what it is.
Yeah,
there is a story to be made, but the way that the story is painted, and I always say this to guests too, whenever they're and you've heard it from me. Like, this interview is a canvas. I can be a Jackson Pollock or a Mona Lisa.
Yes.
It'll be the same exact thing with a standard wrestling match. Could be the biggest Rembrandt you will ever paint. But deathmatch is just, not a Picasso would be a different one. A Pollock. It's just, the mess is there, but the story is still up for interpretation, but the paint is still on that canvas.
Yes, it is. Yes, thank you. I think it's like when you talk to people about this stuff, they think that, oh, you do that? I don't know about that, my guy. But it's like, you do ladder matches. You do these kind of matches. Like, I've gotten hurt in way more ladder matches than I have death matches. I'll say that, and things like that. And I think it comes down to people being like maybe squeamish around certain things and aspects like that. And yes, I understand. That being said, I don't think every wrestler should do them. It's completely a consent thing. It shouldn't be just like, all right, brother, it's time. I need you to do tubes, a gusset plate in both arms, and then your head, and then syringes to your cheeks. I need that for this match, or else I'm not paying you. It doesn't have to be like that. I think
it's dedication.
Yeah, it's dedication. There it is.
Because, I think it's not for the faint of heart. And there's some guys that I talk to on the side who are like, yeah, deathmatch is not for me, or like, I'll try it when I have enough experience to do that. But deathmatch and wrestling in general, whether it's here in Texas or in Australia or even in Japan where they have their own different scene, it takes dedication. And it takes me back to FMW. Hayabusa, dear Lord. I mean, like, the guy literally had to fight in an exploding cage.
Yes.
And it's like, the fact that he's done so much on FMW that kind of it put him over, but it put FMW over because it takes dedication to do a death match or cage match or what have you.
Absolutely, and he's not a traditional deathmatch guy. He was a guy that just I think we had this up before. I like the guys that became the aces of FMW after Onita left are kind of like all guys that did both, and I really can respect that. And it's just like, good God, these guys realize that, well, this company used to be more violent, so we need to have that still. But we also want to show we can do crazy flips and all this stuff, so we'll do that still. And it's just like, what do you feel like at the end of the week? Because, you know, Japan, a lot of shows, they have 5 days a week sometimes, tours and stuff like that. And you got to imagine, if I'm doing a death match on Monday, a crazy, like, high impact flying match on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then I'm back to doing death on, like, I don't know, the weekend, it's just like, what do you feel like? You have to be miserable. So it's just like, my hat goes off to those guys. That's got to be amazing.
Yeah, because we're going to be close to wrapping up, and you've went to New Jersey, which is probably
CZW.
I was surprised. Because CZW being a lot of the guys who are in the major promotions started off as CZW.
Yeah.
An example would be MJF. Adam Cole, a couple people. The names escape me, but
Swerve,
to be part of Swerve. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's a champion and deathmatch guy too.
Yeah, that's right. Because like now that being part of that really prestigious promo in CZW in New Jersey, out of all places, too, what was it like to at least go out of your way from Texas to be part of CZW?
It was wild to me. I get the invite like, hey, we need you to do Cage of Death. And I'm like, the match or just the show? Just the show, but we need a death match on there. Okay, I'm on
that's cool.
Cage of Death doing a death match, you know? Like, that's cool as heck. And I will say I will be back on that side of the country. Obviously, it's already been announced. I will be there in Boston and ICW. I'll be in Boston, but I will be back at CZW. And you will hit that announcement. That's probably after this comes out. There'll be something I'm doing. So I'm excited for that.
It's crazy. Have you watched CZW matches before you even got involved in joining them in the show?
Yes. It's one of those things I was like, I'm going to be on CZW? What?
Is this real?
Because like I was a big Ring of Honor kid in like the 2000s, and I remember the Ring of Honor versus CZW feud they did in like, I can't remember, was it 05, 06?
That was, it was 06.
Yeah.
I had the DVD for that.
Yeah. And it's just like, I'm a part of that company here in 2025. What is this? That's wild.
It's a pinch me moment at that point.
Yeah. It's just like, that was kind of a bucket list. I had to do that. I have some bucket lists, you know, like I did the TPI in 2021. That was a bucket list. CZW just being a part of some of the major shows there was a bucket list item. And it's just like, wow, this is cool as hell. Was it a crazy experience that I get horribly cut open? Yes, I did. But you know what? That wouldn't be anything. Wouldn't think anything less of CZW. That's all.
Wrestling. That's what it
Wrestling, yes.
So before we wrap up, and I'm going to ask this, you've had a great year. I'm going to be upfront with it.
Thank you.
You've traveled the world. You've traveled to all over the U.S. And this year, what are you grateful for 2025?
I am unbelievably grateful for people who have just had my back and believed in me. People who have allowed me to get these opportunities, you know, whether it's promoters here in Texas that have seen something in me. My own partner, I love her to death. The fact that she's supported this dream of mine and everything like that.
That's good.
Just, you know, I just, and also the fans, that's another one. It sounds cliche, I know, but like, seriously, I wouldn't be able to do any of this if I didn't have people buying merch, you know, helping out shows, you know, like typing my name. Hey, you should book this guy on here, you know, like held me up and somehow like guys like I don't get talked about them enough. Like there's a bunch of guys in Houston that used to be like they are and they still are kind of the guys that build weapons, and they built a lot of stuff for Death in the Family. You know, they helped Bradley Mann build stuff. He is Nick Jones and both Hugo and Victor Ramos, the Ramos twins. You know, they're guys that just like they've had my back. They always put my name out there and like deathmatch discussions as guys that someone should look at, you know. And sometimes people really get harp on the, oh, Texas is a black hole. Texas is a black hole. And it can be if you make it like that, but you have to rise up and you have to build that connection with people because it helps get you out, isn't the thing. I think that's something so many people need to understand. Like this job is all about networking and making connections with human beings. And like, if you don't do that, this is going to be really hard for a lot of people. And I'm just grateful for the fact that I've been able to touch enough people that they believe in me. That's all I'd say. So I'm very grateful for that, I'd say.
So, Death in the Family.
Yes.
July 19th. Hype us up.
Hype you up.
What's
okay.
coming?
We already talked about a few of these matches. Cash, Killer Cash and Demo Diamond. Two big guys. They're just going to punch each other. There's going to be some toys in there. It's going to be quite interesting. I'm going to see who knocks out who first. It's going to be great. Just vibing. Oh my God. These two thugs are going to try to get their hands on these two quick, high-flying guys who are both insane. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Let's talk about this one because I'm excited for this one. Devin Carter versus London Dior. And that's coming out. And it's for the Barachos, their women's title. And I'm excited for that. Those girls have assured me this will not just be a normal match. They said they will do some stuff in it too. So I'm excited to see what that entails. And then it's been announced. I can't hide it anymore. It's the main event. Rick Savage versus the madman with chains himself, Dimitri. I don't know what they're doing. I just know everything is on the table with that match. It's probably not going to stay in the building. It's going to go in that parking lot, that little tiny parking lot. We're going to have to probably close it off.
How does that work?
Listen, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Okay.
We're going to have our ref there, and he's just going to have to follow them around, and it's going to end somewhere. It's going to end somewhere in that vicinity.
Oh my God.
It's going to be wild. And we haven't announced it just yet, but there's going to be live music there. It's going to be some great stuff. It's going to be a different experience. And like I said, the idea and the hope is this is the first of a few building up to the big show in October, you know, and I'm excited to help out with it. Like I said, they initially asked me to help them with finding talent for the initial tournament and helping with that. And then afterwards, when everything kind of disseminated, I was like, why does that have to be one-time thing, guys? Let's do something else. And now it's been like, I'm helping a lot more, and I'm trying to be more like, I don't have to miss wrestle on the shows, guys. I want to help out. I want to I'll build weapons. I'll round up the guys and everything like that, you know? And I don't know. I just want Texas is seen to have something like, I want to get back to it, and I want it to be something strong, you know? So this is the first of a few of these pop-ups, and I believe in this. I believe in this product so much.
So for those who are watching or listening here on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcast, we will have Crash Course this Friday. So tune in to who is the next student that's going to be highlighted this Friday. So for those who are watching, thank you so much for tuning in, and we're on to the next one.